October 23rd, 1942. El Alamein, Egypt. The desert hums like a furnace. Wind howls across the dunes, carrying the stench of oil, sweat, and cordite. Beneath the burning sun, rows of turbaned soldiers crouch behind dunes, their rifles fixed toward the horizon. They are Indians, Sikhs, Gurkhas, Rajputs, Punjabis, thousands of them, waiting for a signal that will send them into the largest tank battle the desert has ever seen. No one will remember their names. When the order comes, it's swallowed by the roar of artillery. The ground shakes. The horizon becomes a wall of fire. British tanks surge forward, engines screaming, and behind them, the Indian infantry rises. Boots sink into sand as they advance, bayonets glinting, faces set in silence. The sky turns black with smoke. A shell lands nearby, throwing sand and men into the air. Lance Naik Gian Singh pulls a wounded comrade to cover, his uniform already dark with sweat and dust. Around him, the desert erupts. The thunder of Rommel's guns, the hiss of burning fuel, the screams of men caught between machines. They fight through it all. Through minefields that swallow entire platoons, through lines of machine gun nests that rake the sand into storms of death. Every yard costs blood. Every night brings more bodies. For weeks, the Indian divisions, the 4th and 5th, hold the flanks while the British 8th Army pounds forward. They are the ones who crawl through barbed wire at midnight, who drag the wounded back under tracer fire, who die nameless under stars that will never remember them. When the dust finally settles, Montgomery calls it victory. The desert fox retreats west, his dream of Egypt shattered. The British press prints photos of tanks and generals, but not of the men whose hands dug the graves, whose sweat soaked the sand. For them, victory means nothing. Orders come to move again, across Libya, toward Tunisia. No time to rest. The empire needs them elsewhere. They march on, across continents, their story already fading in the noise of history. But for now, the desert still remembers the sound of their footsteps, millions of them, echoing into the endless sands. March 1944. Cassino, Italy. Rain hammers the shattered monastery on the hill. The wind cuts through the rubble, carrying the smell of cordite and mud. Below, the town of Cassino is nothing but a graveyard of stone. Roofs collapsed, walls shattered, streets turned into rivers of muck. In the ruins crouch the men of the 4th Indian Division, the same soldiers who crossed deserts and mountains for battles that weren't theirs. Now they face the impossible, breaking through Hitler's strongest line in Europe. They climb at night, soaked to the bone, their boots sucking at the mud. Every step upward is death waiting. The Germans hold the high ground. Machine guns in the cloisters, mortars hidden among the ruins of a 1,400-year-old abbey. The mountain groans under artillery. Shells burst like thunder. A sepoy ducks as a fragment tears through his pack. "Keep moving," an officer yells, his voice drowned by the storm of steel. The air tastes of cordite and stone dust. Below them, the valley burns. The New Zealanders push from one side, the British from another. But it's the Indian soldiers who climb straight into the monastery's teeth. In the half-light of dawn, Gurkhas edge along a crumbling wall, their kukuris drawn. The cold metal reflects the flash of gunfire. They slip between shattered statues, ghosts in a place that once knew only prayer. When the counterfire comes, it's relentless. Mortars rain down. Men vanish in flashes of white. The smell of blood mixes with wet stone. "We keep climbing," says Havildar Singh, breath ragged. "If we stop, we die." They hold for 3 days. 3 nights. Fighting through the rubble, house to house, under constant shelling. At one point, supplies run out. Men drink rainwater pooled in their helmets. Wounded soldiers refuse to be carried down. There's no one left to carry them. The monastery finally falls weeks later, after endless bombardment. The Allies call it victory, but for the Indian divisions, it's hollow. They look at the ruins, at the brothers they've buried in foreign soil, and realize something unspoken, that no one will sing for them. Their letters home are censored, their names misspelled in dispatches. Their colors still bear the Union Jack, but the men beneath it begin to wonder what flag they truly fight for. The road ahead leads north, through Rome, through the mountains, through another year of war. But something has changed in them. They've begun to see what the Empire never wanted them to see: their own power. August 1944. The Gothic Line, northern Italy. The air smells of pine and smoke. Clouds cling to the Apennine Mountains as the Indian 8th and 10th Divisions crawl through the mud, soaked and sleepless. The Germans have dug in above them, concrete bunkers, camouflaged machine gun nests, mines hidden beneath wet leaves. The British call it one of the toughest defenses in Europe. But the men from Punjab, Bengal, and Nepal don't flinch. They've seen worse. They've fought from Tobruk to Monte Cassino, across deserts and rivers, over corpses and wire. Now they fight through the mountains, carrying mules instead of trucks, climbing by rope through rain that never stops. At night, the forest comes alive. Gunfire flashes between the trees. The thunder of mortars echoes across valleys. Gurkhas move like shadows, blades drawn, clearing enemy trenches without a sound. When dawn comes, they vanish back into the mist, leaving only silence and the faint smell of cordite. In one assault, near San Marino, a company of Sikh infantry crawls through mud up to their chests. The ground shakes with artillery. The mountain seems to breathe smoke. Captain Amar Singh leads from the front, his turban streaked with dirt and rain. "Forward!" he shouts, though his voice is barely a whisper over the chaos. They charge. When the line finally breaks, the Allies cheer. The road to Bologna opens. Newspapers in London declare, "Another British victory." But few mention who stormed those ridges. Few know that 1 out of every 3 men who fell there spoke Hindi, Urdu, or Punjabi. Even fewer know the cost. Of the 2.5 million Indians who served in the war, the largest volunteer army in history, tens of thousands never came home. Their bodies lie buried in Egypt, Libya, Italy, Burma, and Greece. Their medals, if they ever came, arrived in the mail, often to families who couldn't read the language engraved on them. When the war ends, the photographs are all the same. White officers shaking hands, flags waving, smiling victors. The Indians are in the background, blurred, cropped out, forgotten. They liberated Europe. They fought fascism before most had even heard the word. But history had already decided what to remember and what to erase. Still, for the men who marched from Cairo to Rome, from the Sahara to the Alps, the silence after victory was heavier than the war itself. They had fought for freedom, but not their own. August 1945, Bombay Harbor. The war is over. The ships are coming home. Crowds line the docks as thousands of soldiers step onto Indian soil, thinner, quieter, older than when they left. Their khaki uniforms hang loose on their frames, medals glint under the sun, but no one cheers. The air is heavy with heat, humidity, and something else, unease. For years they fought for an empire that now stands at the edge of collapse. London promises medals, pensions, and parades. But India is changing faster than the empire can contain it. Independence whispers through the streets. Flags of freedom rise where Union Jacks once flew. As the veterans disembark, they find their country divided, not by battle lines, but by politics. The war that united them under one command has returned them to a land split by faith and fury. The same hands that once carried each other through minefields now clutch banners for India or Pakistan. No one remembers El Alamein. No one talks about Casino. Their victories have no place in a world that wants to forget the empire that used them. In Delhi, veterans gather in silence. Some still wear their regimental badges, others have already burned theirs. We fought for a crown that was never ours, one mutters. His hands tremble, not from fear, but from realization. Across Europe, cemeteries bloom with their names, carved into marble in languages their families cannot read. In Imphal, in Anzio, in Tobruk, they lie under small stones that say only, an Indian soldier of the Second World War, known unto God. As the sun sets over the harbor, a train whistles in the distance. The soldiers disperse, some to villages, some to cities that no longer feel like home. Their uniforms fade into the crowd. The empire they served fades with them. History moves on. Textbooks in Britain write of Churchill and Montgomery, of Dunkirk and D-Day. The Indian Army, the largest volunteer force in the world, becomes a footnote, a shadow, a story not worth telling. But the truth lingers in the dust of forgotten graves and the yellowed letters of families who never heard back. They fought for a world that would never remember them. And yet, without them, that world might not exist at all.